I'm Tiger Woods, and this is my game. This is a golf lesson none of you had before. Technology has certainly leveled the playing field because you don't always have to hit the ball in the middle of the face time and time again. And quite frankly, the balls just don't curve as much. And so that's narrowed the field, that's brought all of us closer together. But saying that also puts an added importance of being, how can you figure out your own edge? Where are you going to find that? You know, some guys have a unique talent of hitting the ball more solid than others. Some are faster than others. Where's your edge going to be? You know, that's where you need to find it. And it's just not as apparent as it used to be. Well, there's trade-offs, right? If you want a little bit more spin, then you're not going to have the distance that you could get with, you know, a harder golf ball. For me, I've always been one that has been able to control my spin and take spin off. I've struggled when I've had to put spin on a golf ball. And so give me the spin, I'll take it off. Now, because I believe in that, is that I sacrifice a little bit off the tee in distance. And I could hit the ball further by going to a harder golf ball, but I lose the ability to hit the spinnier shots around the greens. I lose the ability to work the ball like how I like to see it maneuver in the air. And so there's that trade-off. Now, what's great about technology is it's allowed me to have the workability of a spinnier golf ball, but the new aerodynamics that we now have. And so the ball is spinning like it kind of like what it used to when I first came out on tour, but it's flying through the air better. And so I'm getting a golf ball that responds to the spin characteristics I like, but also it goes through the wind better. And so it's the best of both worlds. Now, would I like to see the ball go further? Absolutely. With my driver? Yes. But there's trade-offs to it. I used to do quite a bit of club and ball testing. When I had drivers built for me, like 50 drivers, I have to hit every single one of them a few times, toss that one out, toss that one out. That one's pretty good. That one's kind of, let's retest that one again. Next thing you know, you're going through a 2-day session of just testing drivers. Well, now you have launch monitors, you can test everything and get all the information you can out of just a few swings, and you know whether a shaft works, a head works, a weight system works, the golf ball works. You know, and testings are so much easier now. But it was exhaustive. But also in a weird way, it brought me this connection to my clubs, that I could feel things that I don't know if other players felt or not, but I had to go earn it in the dirt and feel it and explain what I felt to the engineers of why I didn't like it. That eventually put a set together that I liked. But then there's the next generation of stuff that would come out, a new product would come out, and it's okay, we got to test again for the new product. Okay, well there's another long testing sessions, and that would be days upon days upon days. Thank God those days are over. I don't have to do that anymore.
He will get a shipment of drivers, wedges, putters, whatever, and he will very quickly sometimes decide which one feels good, just by waggling it, just by picking it up. And most of the time he'll say something like, I like the light one, or I like the heavy one, and they're all supposed to be the same, and then I'll go back and measure them, weigh them all, and there will be one that's a gram or two heavier. That I think that's the stuff that most people just can't feel that in their hands. The amount of sensitivity that he has really helps him to be a great player.
Tiger likes to get a little more involved. He likes to know what's going on with his clubs and why it's reacting a certain way. He's not afraid to move the weights around and stuff like that. So he's very involved, but he lets the guys handle it on their end and make the clubs. but he's very hands-on in terms of what they're doing and what's going on with the clubs.
Oh, I've changed a lot because the driver heads have gotten so much bigger. My dad always taught me to tee the ball up half the ball above the crown, half the ball below the crown. Well, now that's that high. You know, before it was like an iron on a par 3. And so that's one of the evolutions that I've had to try and adjust to technology, because there was a time when the driver head started to explode and got so much bigger. I found myself using 2 different golf swings. I had a driver swing and then my 3-wood on down swing. And so trying to marry that up is one of the challenges I've found throughout, you know, the middle part of my career. When I was young, I thought that if you could hit your 8-iron 150, you know, you were one of the big guys. You know, that was, you know, the old blotto ball. The iron lofts were weaker at the time than the standard lofts now. And so you're one of the bigger hitters. Well, now you get guys hitting wedges 160. And so the game has evolved, but I've played the same lofts that when I first got my first full length set. And so that hasn't changed. So my lofts are relatively weak compared to today's standards. Take, for example, a simple pitching wedge. There's, I think, standard somewhere around 45 degrees. Well, that's what my 9-iron is. And so I'm probably 3/4 of a club weaker, maybe even half a club weaker than the standard now. But I'm still hitting the ball the same distances. So I haven't had to adjust, you know, that much over my course of my career of hitting the ball, you know, my numbers have stayed relatively the same. I do like having fresh wedges in there pretty much almost every week I play. And that's just because of spin. Now, my configuration doesn't really change to the bounce and the setup of it. But I spend so much time, as I was alluding to, chipping, that I wear out my grooves. And if they lose a little bit of friction, that's a little bit of spin I lost, and I could gain that back by having new wedges. Simplicity. You know, I like if something that looks very clean in the playing position, uncomplicated, very simple. Feel like I can look at this thing all day. It has to start there. You know, if I don't like the way it looks, I'm not going to use it. It may perform better than what I have, but if it doesn't, if I'm fighting the way it looks and I have to rely on it on the 72nd hole of a tournament, if I can't stand it, I'm probably not going to give it a chance. Okay, so it has to look good. Well, then after that, it has to perform at my expectation. And if it's not doing those 2 things, then it's just not in. Golf is a microcosm of life. There's going to be ups and downs, there's going to be challenges, there's going to be ebbs and flows, and ultimately, when it comes right down to it, we determine our own fate. And it's okay to feel uncomfortable. Am I ever nervous? Are you kidding me? You know, I'm nervous on the very first shot. I'm nervous throughout the entire day. But it's how I channel it and how I harness it. How do I put that energy into either deeper focus or deeper intensity? And it's not to be ashamed of it or afraid of it. Go after it.